10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
And it's good to be home, migraine and all. And we are live from the Beyond Ringside studios and that many more locations. First it's sunshine, then it's rain, then it's cloudy, then it's the drizzle and drips. Everybody else thought I was going to use another word there. That ain't me. Greetings, good evening, and how the hell are you? Welcome into Beyond Ringside live on a Sunday afternoon. The Magic City Motor Mouth, also referred to as the babysitter, Fast Eddie Layne, back behind the control panel this week. Like to welcome in tag team partner, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis.
Here's a great thing about you being quote-unquote a babysitter. We can always hang up and just disappear. So,
you know, I
could... a dog with a blog, somebody's toy takes off, nothing like that.
Like to welcome in tag team partner, the voice, Ted Guinness.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, and here I am stuck in the middle with you.
Thank you, Steelers Wheeler.
Yeah, why don't you sing it? I don't know why I came here. Oh, I'm sorry.
Nobody
needs to write those karaoke. Nobody gets that but us. I'm sorry.
There you go. And like to welcome in tag team partner, multi-time world champion, Tasha Simone. Tasha, how you doing?
You know what? I didn't have any shots in my neck. And I wrestled last night after I totaled my Jeep, and I'm still here. Why? Because I'm a professional.
And legitimately...
That's not true. Eddie, that's not true. She does that because she's a freaking cyborg. Don't let her lie to you.
How many
I need mechanical parts today.
I need medical transportation. Jeff Dunham line. Go back and watch the first DVD. You'll know what I'm talking about. I hope everybody has had a great week. It has been tremendous all the way across the board. Had a blast. Okay, short version for those who are actually still wondering. I was taking part hosting, emceeing, and DJing for the Oak Mountain Spring State Fair, sponsored by River Chase Kia and Pelham Power Sports at the Oak Mountain Amphitheater for 10 days. And it got me back to my roots. And y'all will be happy to know that I'm seeing a lot of things a lot more clearly than I have over the last probably about the last year. And I've had some of the most fun. And, you know, for as much as, and we all four work in the professional wrestling industry in one capacity or another. I didn't say business, so you can't drink. Drink. And there are times when we get caught up in some of the BS and some of the drama and some of the negativity, and it can get overwhelming sometimes. And I fall victim to that every once in a while myself. Wicked, you and I have had some in-depth conversations about sometimes when it happens. And coming back last night, after having missed a few of the shows, with Global Championship Wrestling in Palmerdale, as the road to global warfare continues, I had fun last night. You know, normally I can sit back and say, I had a great time. It was a great show and a lot of great action in the ring, hard-hitting professional wrestling action. I had fun last night. And I think, from what I could tell, just about everybody around me did. Wick, your thoughts?
It's always good to be in a locker room where there's young guys looking to go elsewhere. Not necessarily leave GCW, but to go to that bigger stage, if you will, whether it be TNA, whether it be Ring of Honor, Dragon's Gate USA, WWE, what have you. The thing about it is that when you have a lot of hungry guys that go in there, and here's the best part about it, psychology.
Yeah.
You look at some of the matches from last night, you look at almost all the matches from last night, I would put those up against almost any wrestling match over the last 2 years, psychologically wise.
Yeah.
Maybe not in ring, but I mean, not 1,000 arm drags. Nobody hitting a spine buster for a double down. Nothing like that. And that's what it should be about. It is an art form. Yes, we are entertained by it. Yes, we all are. Some of us make our livelihood and feed our families off this, Tasha. And then there's some that are out here just weekend wear. Some people just want to be like, hey, I'm a wrestler. Those guys are not the ones that I care to do events with. There are guys out there, and I'm not saying there aren't any in GCW. There's some everywhere. But for the most part, that locker room is extremely hungry. I am upset that Trevor Doom Eon was not there. I heard Trevor had a great match against Dusty McWilliams, which I'm shocked, because that guy sucks. And shouldn't be in the business, Dusty McWilliams, Texas Hangman, whoever you're called. You're horrible. And so is your rat girlfriend. I hope your wife finds out. But Trevor, I like Doom. Forget him, he's an idiot. But Doom always on top of everything. I'm sorry that he was not able to make that. Joey Lightning had another match. Joey Lightning, since he and I had our little talk, okay, since I told Joey Lightning he didn't have the spine to be in the business, but I told him to his face.
You did?
I told him to his face, Ted, you were there. Ted, you were there. That's at Palmerdale. Whenever we were taking out the ring, he came over and started talking, trying to pull me off to the side. It was, I think, your last night there. I think it was your last night at Palmerdale, the surprise Palmerdale show you showed up at.
No, I was busy off doing whatever that cause show was. I forgot.
But the whole thing about it is that there's some people who excel. Joey Lightning was like, you know what? I'm gonna prove this guy wrong. Have a guy named Braddock. Burley Braddock, as I call him, hell of a talent. And then Dropkick Styles. Here's the thing. Dropkick joins Underground, and we all know when you join a huge faction, a stable, as some people like to call it, but there's no flies around us, so don't call us a stable, a family, what have you. When you join something like that, when you become a part of something immense, I mean, to join Tracy, to join Spiral, to join Micah Taylor, I mean, hell, to even join Aiden Solo and KCP, to join these guys, Dropkick Styles could have had a horrible match. He could have went out there and just been like, you know what, I'm about to go, my first match, join Underground, against Mad Dog Dan Sawyer for the title, but he didn't. He went out there and did what he's paid to do, and then some. And that's what it is. It's that and then some that you look for in those guys. Tosh, you know those people that go out and they give you that little extra. Dyron Flynn, Kerry Awful, to name a few guys, but Iggy. Those guys go out there, they give you that and then some. And this is not a knock on the top rope locker room. This is not a knock on GCW locker room. This is not a knock on the locker room anybody. We all know those guys that give you, and girls, that give you that and then some. Let's not leave out the ladies.
Oh, no.
But they give you that and then some, because you never know when it could be the last time. Man, every one of those fans could die in a car wreck, a horrible wreck. That could have been the last time they ever got to see a wressling event. And I will tell you this.
You have to leave it in the ring. You have to leave it in the ring.
I thought you were going to say you had to say car wreck.
I'm going to stab you. Still in my lines. But exactly, you got to leave it in the ring. People don't do that anymore. When you see it, those are the people that flame up to the top like a phoenix. You're like, there they are, and they stand out, and it's like they have a light around them. There's guys like that, and GCW has freaking stepped it up. Thank God, because as much as I stick my neck, as much as I talk about them, I'd hate to do it to an event that didn't have guys that could perform. But there are guys out there, and Tasha knows I don't speak up for just anybody. There's guys in the locker room I'd speak up for, and that's because they go out there, and I would gladly. Jeremy Foster's one of them. Jeremy Foster, I hope he gets to go do this Northeast tour he's doing. It'd be great for him. But guys, get out there. Leave it all in the ring. Tasha went out there and wrestled right after having a horrendous wreck. I'm not comparing anybody else to Tasha, but I'm comparing her situation. Some guys would be gone for 6 months.
Yeah.
Some people get sideswiped. They're like, my career's over, and then they show up 8 months later out of the blue. That happens.
Speaking of, let's talk.
It's just the difference in how you're brought into the business, though.
Well, thank God Damon Khristofer and Johnny Slaughter brought me into the business the right way, and Brian Alexander. Because they beat the out of me. I mean, beat me down.
Oh, speaking of, hold on, Wicked, speaking of Damon, I did get a chance to go back. I wrongfully accused you behind the scenes of coming up from behind and doing something on camera, and then I was corrected when I was told it was Damon, and then I went back and I looked at the footage from the wrap-up show. Needless to say, there is a caption over his head pointing Damon out to everybody, so wait till the wrap-up show gets loaded. That's all I'm going to say. Speaking of, you were talking about on the road, Tasha Simone last night. Give everybody the update on what happened.
I'm not going to go into the whole thing because I know that the guys will be posting everything about the entire show, but I will say that there was another company here in Nashville that was ripping off not only the fans, but the wrestlers. Paid their last event ever. A lot of the wrestlers were paid in checks that never cleared the bank. In other words, they never got paid. One of the backers said it's not fair after these people have been excited about seeing these tremendous names, these tremendous events. Let's give them what they really want to see. And in Cookeville, Tennessee last night at the college, Slam Fest held their first live event ever. We had 1,400 plus people in that building.
Nice.
There were over 750 people just for the meet and greet, and you had to have a special ticket to get in for the meet and greet. It was absolutely packed, stacked card all the way from top to bottom. Tommy Dreamer was headlining. Of course, they had DDP and Jake Roberts. Who cares? They were pricks. Sorry, babysitter, but I had to say it.
No, I said it a month ago. I said it a month ago. They are. Anybody who disagrees with me can kiss my gluteus maximus.
You can say ass. You know that. It's hell damn ass. Thank you.
I'm trying to tone down right now because I'm in pain. So if it starts coming out, it may start flowing like water.
Make it sweet tea, you got a deal.
All of the wrestlers have forever sold pictures, T-shirts. You don't charge somebody $10 for your freaking autograph just because you're crack-free now. I'm sorry, that's rude. Especially when you'll probably be smoking crack in the locker room in 2 or 3 months.
No, that's snakish. That's not Rick Rubin. That's not rude.
I mean, I'm sorry. That's just ridiculous. And as a professional wrestler, I was offended. There were actually fans coming to the rest of us there complaining because they were going up and asking with their own pen, their own paper, will you sign my autograph? And after they would sign the autograph, then they would tell them $10.
Oh, hell no.
They were doing it. They weren't telling them $10 before, so they were putting them in a position where they had to spend the money. But overall, seriously, absolutely wonderful card. My first match back against Melissa Coates last night. She is a bodybuilder. I'm going to say that. She has potential. Somebody has to bring it out of her. I intend to be the one to bring it out of her or break her. That's just how it's going to go.
Can I watch?
This was phenomenally behind us. I will say that. But Tommy Dreamer stole the show. Stole the show, doing Gangnam Style in the ring and doing the worm. Oh, yes, he did. That and his hair catching on fire from Two Tough Tony.
Well, what I want to know is who was the standout of the evening? As always, Jake Cole. Jake Cole stole the night at GCW.
Hey,
who was the standout?
Supposed to mention Jake Cole,
ma'am?
Aren't we not supposed to mention Jake Cole?
We're not supposed to say.
That's on the To Be Determined show. Here it doesn't matter. He's not going to show up. The To Be Determined show. We also what happened to O'Hagan. As we also what happened to O'Hagan and Mad Dog. As soon as we mentioned his name, the riot broke out at the concert they were at.
Yeah,
literally.
Right.
I told Jake too. I was like, Jake, you're a fire starter. He needs to just come out. Oh my God, that guy's crazy. Who stole the show at this event? Was that such a lineup? Who was the standout of this event in ring wise? Because I don't give a crap about a worm and a Gangnam Style from Tommy Dreamer. That's not what I give a crap about. Who stole the show, Tasha? Let's get on Bear Tactics.
Al Snow in the ring.
That I believe.
Al Snow
in the ring.
That.
Now, do me a favor before we go any further. You mentioned one of the names that I was going to mention before the top of the hour break. A couple of very good friends of ours are celebrating birthdays this weekend, two of whom are with Global Championship Wrestling. Aladdin himself is celebrating his birthday. I'm referring to Jeremy Foster, or Space Ghost version 3.6.
Space Ghost!
I expected Guinness to pop in and say that.
I'm sorry. Hey, that's better than Shane Fox dressing like CM Punk in yellow and pink. I'm just saying.
And I called him out for that TV.
We did, yes, we did. We both did that on TV. Remember, we both started making fun of him because I was up there with a vasectomy. That was 2 days after I had the vasectomy and I was all filled up.
Yeah, it was the battle royal that he won for the what was it? The number one contendership
for the TV title.
For the TV title.
He came out and I was like,
won.
"Gee, I wonder whose gimmick he stole." Dead silence for like 30 seconds. Moving on.
Don laughing. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Jeremy Foster celebrated his birthday yesterday, and as of 12 midnight Central Time, here in the great state of Alabama, and in the Central Time Zone, Mr. O'Hagan, Joshua O'Hagan, celebrating his birthday on Cinco de Mayo. So to good
How old is he now? 900?
I think he's
37.
No, he's still older than I am.
There is
Hold
no
on.
O'Hagan's younger than I am.
Ted, let me tell you guys this. This is why Tasha's mad at the Charms tonight. During the triple threat, Tasha had asked us to go over and chop O'Hagan as hard as we could and just tell him happy birthday from Tasha. We had it set up. Hold on.
Do it in the ring.
Yeah, no. You just told us to do it. You just told us this. We were going to do it in the ring. We're like, man, this will be funny because Eddie's recording. It'll be something so we can send it to Tasha to show her we really did it. The triple threat breaks out. KCP forgets half the match.
Yeah.
KCP forgets half. So everything got cut in half. So literally, I pull on Damon. I said, Damon, Tasha chops. Knox, Tasha chops. Pull him over here to me. We're like, okay. And then the finish happens. We're like, oh, run. Whoops. I know we're breaking a little bit of kayfabe there, but that's what happened. It was hilarious, though. We had it lined up. We were going to just on him.
Yeah, it was great. And the first thing I get as I'm driving home, I'm like, I get this text that says, so what's this about birthday chop?
Oops.
I didn't film, but I won. Good job, guys. Good job.
Yeah, because we were so mad at them. We were like, oh, we're so mad at you. Like, we still chopped him, but we didn't chop him as hard as we wanted to because then it was kind of like after something like a letdown chop, like, God damn it, that don't mean anything.
Good job, guys.
I know.
Yeah, I know. I wish I had the Gong Show. I wish I had the Gong Show music here. I would definitely do it. 5 minutes before the
all kidding aside, all heat aside about the Charms, though, Wicked and the Charms. Wicked had called me yesterday when I got where I could call him back. All of the guys wanted to make sure that I was okay. I'm so proud of all of the members of my wrestling family. I'm so happy that they're my wrestling family because everybody wanted to make sure that I was okay and in one piece.
I think it's called an Arcadia or an Arcadia, something like that. The SUV, what GMC SUV. Anyways, Damon bought that for his wife Misty, and we were riding around that. We actually had you in surround sound all the way throughout. So we were like, oh my God! I mean, we were all like, as soon as I found out we called you, and you're like, instantly, I can't talk right now. We were like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. But we made sure to say a prayer for you in our prayer
in the locker room.
Yeah, before him.
I wish I would have known. I would have sent some well wishes, but I get only bits and pieces of information out of Alabama now.
This is the honest to God truth, guys. I was okay. They had to pry my hands off the steering wheel, but when they got my hands off the steering wheel, I turned and looked at the back of my Jeep and saw how close I was to going off the bridge, and I lost it.
Wow.
I totally lost it. I don't care who says I believe or I don't believe. Somebody was watching over me yesterday because I should have gone over the edge of that bridge.
Angels,
true story.
I'll still say angels exist. That's all I'm going to say. Plain and simple.
So do demons.
Well,
yes.
One or two yesterday, let me tell you.
Yes, Wicked, I know demons exist. I'm related.
You're talking to one.
Right
Tasha,
here.
man. Yeah. See what I said? I said Tasha. See? Eddie, it was good to have you back last night. I mean, no offense to Whitney, but I mean, when you have a guy, I mean, she's new. She was kind of fed to the wolves on soundboard, etc. Tommy Dreamer said it. You're one of the best in the business, like vocally. But we all get your little ways of putting yourself over. You're not getting it by us. We're going to stab you every time.
Of course.
And thank you for apologizing. Thank you for apologizing because Damon did walk up and start rubbing his nipples or something.
I know.
I was taking down the ring at the time. So I'm not sure. All I heard is Eddie's like, I'm going to get you back. I was like, what are you talking about? Did I put the mats in the wrong spot?
No.
Did I throw the cables? I had no idea what he was talking about. You were doing that behind me. I was like, no, I was not.
No, because...
That's why I looked at you all confused.
Okay, Ted can vouch for the fact, and you can too, because normally I do the wrap-up show without my glasses on. Vanity rules.
Yes.
Vanity rules. I admit to that. I don't always like the way that I look when I wear my glasses, so I take them off. Well, if I take them off, I can't see crap. especially when I'm looking at that itty bitty little monitor on my camera. So all I saw was a shirt similar to the color of the one that you were wearing. I'm going, Wick's behind me at it again. I'm going to kill him.
See, I always thought you took your glasses off because you didn't want the bald spot on the top of your head competing with the glare of your glasses.
That either.
I thought it was because of the glare of the glasses as well. Because you guys know I wear glasses, and I'm blind as a bat without. I'm damn near Stan Hansen without mine, and I can't see in that little the little flip side of your video recorder as well.
Even when it's upside down.
That's why I'm all squinty. People are like, "Man, you got crow's feet." Yeah, because I squint half the time. I feel like Clint Eastwood in a old movie. Go ahead.
And look, let's go ahead and put this world in proper perspective. You can talk about the glare up on the north side all you want to. It is not a balding spot. It's not a thinning area. God played golf and forgot to replace the divot. That's all I'm going to say, plain and simple. Yeah, really? Yeah, right now 1.5, but that's a different story.
He's got a handicap of 69.
I'd be damn happy to have that.
God, not me.
I was about to say, I'd be damn happy to have that handicap right now, but unfortunately.
And as we lose our one sponsor.
There you go. Hey, Trojan man. Okay.
Exactly.
Sorry. He's bankrupt on my part now.
5:58 in the Central Time Zone, and we have gone to hell.
In a handbasket with little green wheels. One thing I wanted to ask, did any of y'all get a chance to catch any of the Mayweather fight from last night, Ted?
I did.
Boxing.
Wick, you did?
I did. Once again, Guerrero on the one. I think maybe the second round. He put it on him. Mayweather is just. I don't like. He does a gimmick, just like Chael Sonnen. Mayweather is. He's got a. What's the guy's name that they were chanting? I can't think of his name. Alvin
Alvarez.
Yeah, I mean that guy. I mean they were chanting his name at the end. That's the only way. But just like Mayweather said, he's going to take some time. He made $35 million off one fight. $35 million. I wish they would have put Guerrero's dad in there. So Guerrero, we're going to get that wife beater. We're going to get that wife beater, eh?
Look, I was really hoping for great things coming out of that fight. And, Guerrero did stand his ground for quite a while. But thing about it is, and this is where I have to give the devil his due. Even after supposedly injuring his hand during the fight, Mayweather going into a defensive posture for the majority of the balance of the fight still was able to win by a
And they got booed for that, Eddie. He got booed for going defensive after he broke his hand. If you saw the interview with ESPN, he held his hand up. You could see it was broke.
Yeah.
Obviously. And people he went into defensive. I can't stand it when they use the same thing for Vanderlei Silva.
Now, when it comes down to it, and we're going 1 minute before the top of the hour, we've got a very special interview kicking off in just a few minutes. We're going to go to that top of the hour break. My thing about Silva has been the fact that when he feels that he has got a strong enough lead in the judge's perspective or he's done enough to win, he refuses to engage anymore. And he proved that on more than one occasion, all the way up to the Sonnen 1 fight. And if you remember, Sonnen handed him his ass for 4 rounds, and just like a good champion, Anderson Silva found a way to win, came back and got the submission victory over Sonnen. And just,
I think he's the greatest fighter of all time.
Sonnen's a great ham and egger.
Is a what?
Ma'am?
He's a great ham and egger.
Anderson Silva?
No, Sonnen is a great ham.
Yeah, true.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was reading somewhere earlier, I think it was lordsofpain.net, where Sonnen has supposedly said that when he retires from mixed martial arts, he wants to buy WWE. Junior.
WWE, yeah.
Say what?
Yeah, I just read the same thing.
Yeah.
That's great.
And somebody in WWE's front office decided to go ahead and say, we're a publicly traded company, and if he would like to become one of our valued stockholders, we would love to have him on board. Folks, tell you what, we are going to go to the top of the hour break. Hang tight. We will be back in 5 right here on Beyond Ringside Live.
This is Hector Camacho Jr., and you are locked in with Beyond Ringside. History is on.
On a Sunday night, the music plays, the microphones go hot, and we are live. Welcome back in to Beyond Ringside Live. Fast Eddie Layne behind the control panel. Wicked Nemesis, come on back in.
Hi. It's time.
It always is.
Time.
Oh, I knew he'd say that eventually. Like to welcome back in Tasha Simone.
But he...
Ladies and gentlemen, got a very special guest coming on this time. A person who wears a number of hats in the world of professional wrestling, and you can definitely catch her on Pantsless Radio, the Chikaratorium, and The View from Filsinger Headquarters. Wiggy, welcome to Beyond Ringside. Glad to have you on board.
Hi, I am so excited to be here. How are you guys all doing tonight?
Wonderfully well. It's been a great day all across, I can almost say all across the Southeast, with the exception of Ted, who was with us a minute ago. He's all the way up in Idaho, kind of like remote location, but we're working on getting him a little bit more access up there.
Well, I'm Canada, so I'm way further than just Iowa. Or Idaho.
Definitely north of the border. By the way, first off, glad to have you on board. Thank you for taking the time to come on board with us this evening. Now, what part of Canada are you based in?
I'm from Toronto.
Ah, okay, Blue Jays country.
Right now it's Leafs country.
Is which country?
Leafs?
It's Leafs country. Yeah.
It's hockey, Eddie. Oh my God, Let me apologize really quick. Eddie does not watch hockey. I'm a huge hockey fan. I'm an Avs fan.
Excuse me, I was watching the Washington New York game yesterday.
Oh my God, I knew you were going to say that. I was going to have a hockey question. Go ahead, Eddie. I'm sorry.
I was actually watching the Washington Rangers game yesterday. That's all I can say.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, 1 goal overtime.
Yes, good game.
Yeah, and that was a heartbreaker for the Rangers, but a great moment for Washington. That's all I can say. And that was they're ahead 2-0 in that series right now. So tell me I don't watch hockey. I'm in lament because Birmingham had a farm league hockey team down here for a while, for a number of years, called the Birmingham Bulls, and when they folded up shop, I kind of cried. So that was one I actually had season passes. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, on to pertinent subjects. Hockey, of course, is always one of them. You never know what we're going to cover around here. How did you get involved? You really don't. How did you get involved, first off, doing the podcast and the various things that you do, not to mention getting involved in pro wrestling?
Well, okay, with the podcast, actually friends of mine, one of my best friends has a show, The Program with Matt and Ben, and they invited me on one week. I guess they were a person short and decided, everybody else they knew was busy, so they worked their way around to me. And I was on, and I had fun, and people kind of seemed to like me, and eventually I ended up with my own show, Pantsless Radio, on their network. And it was fun. And I was having a good time doing it. And unfortunately, the first incarnation didn't last very long. I think it lasted like maybe 3 months. And then real life kind of got in my co-host's way. And a few months later, I tried again. And real life, again, got in my co-host's way. And finally, they asked if maybe, I might be willing to try to resurrect it one last time and see if it would stick. And this time I decided if I'm going to do this and I'm going to get a new co-host, I'm not going to just grab one of my friends. I'm going to go a little bigger. And I talked to Sugar Dunkerton from everywhere, from Chikara, from Resistance Pro, from FIP. He is awesome. And we didn't even really know each other at this point. And I asked if he'd want to do the show. He was like, yeah. And like this version's managed to last like a little over 2 years so far.
Nice.
So I think I made a good call. Good call with Dunk. So, yeah.
And actually, Dunk is a good friend of ours here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. He's been on BR a number of times. I know Wick's worked with him in person a couple of times on a couple of different shows.
A couple of times.
Oh, maybe one or two.
Let me tell you a good story that you can ask Sugar about. Ask Sugar when he was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar about the Bohemian Grove Brawl when we beat him down. We beat him down with keyboard Singapore Kings. I beat him down with a belt. He grabbed the belt and he's like, if you hit me again, I'm going to punch you in the face. I was like, oh, he means this. I love Sugar. Sugar is one of the most talented individuals, and he deserves all of the accolades he gets. But this leads me to my first question. What is your prediction in the NHL for the playoffs?
Oh, okay. Well, this is way more important than Sugar.
I'll go to Sugar, and my next question is about Sugar. He understands.
Oh, okay. Oh, he knows too. He knows you don't mess with me in my hockey. Yeah. Well, it's really hard not to like Chicago in the West, obviously. It's kind of just like a ridiculously amazing season they've had so far. So you kind of got to lean towards Chicago in the West. Pittsburgh obviously looks really good in the East. The homer in me has to say, like, this is the Leafs' first time back in the playoffs after 9 years, which, like, in Hockey City, it roughly translates to, like, 50 billion years.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking everybody's pretty much written us off already against the Bruins, but, we had a great game last night. We got our stuff together big time last night, and we're chalking the first game up to nerves. A lot of kids, never been in the playoffs before, so I'm thinking we're going deep if we can get past Boston. I think we're going to go a lot deeper than everybody says. I'm thinking the Leafs are going to, like, the Eastern Finals. If we could get past Boston, we're going at least to the Eastern Finals.
Oh, that's a big hurdle against Boston. Boston's firing on all cylinders, if you will. But back to wrestling, we'll transition very quick. I just wanted to know, how... Being around Sugar, being around this, do you guys tend to stick to people you know when you interview? Do you reach out to some people that maybe you don't know? Do you have Sugar with some of his connections? Do you use some of your connections? Or do you just seem kind of like, we'll just keep it to our friends?
No, not at all. Actually, this is probably, of all the things that we've done on the show and, like all the shows that I've done, probably the one thing that I'm most proud of is the fact that I think we originally started the show doing it once a month, just for, his schedule and trying to my schedule. We weren't really able to connect more than once a month to do the show. And we're twice a month now. We're about to do, I think, our 40th or 41st episode. And I have booked the guest on all but one show. And that I'm totally, like, the most proud of everything that I've done, is because everybody just assumes, your co-host is a wrestler, he must book everybody for you, and it's got to be super easy, he just calls up his buddies and, hey, come on my show. He's only booked one guest, and everybody else I've got myself. And we definitely, we look to cover, like, anybody in indie wrestling, anybody that we think is interesting. We are totally biased. I mean, we go for people that we enjoy. Like, we like watching, that we think is, this would be, like, an awesome guy to talk to. And we have had a lot of Chikara guys on the show. As of late, we don't do so many just because, obviously, I've got the Chikara show. And so it's, we never want to book, like, here's, for example, here's Eddie Kingston on Chikaratorium. And 2 weeks later, here's Eddie Kingston on Pants. We don't want to have that kind of
right,
like saturation or, scheduling conflicts or anything. So I kind of keep the Chikara guys to the Chikara show now, and obviously that show's very family friendly. We update storylines, we review and preview shows and stuff like that. So that's kind of like my Chikara world. And Pantsless is like, we try to encompass the rest of indie wrestling with Pantsless, and it is not family friendly. Under no circumstances should kids or anybody like under 16 listen to that show. But yeah, no, we definitely we if we're able to like help out people that we know and people that we support and are we really we're really that we are friends with and we think they deserve a little more exposure, we're always happy to give it. But we just look for whoever we just think is just awesome. If we think you're awesome and we like your stuff and we know our listeners are going to like your stuff, we want you on the show.
Tasha, Simone, come on board.
Yes.
Question for Wiggy.
How do you feel as a woman involved with professional wrestling in any way?
I hate to play up stereotypes, but unfortunately they're not always stereotypes. It definitely is harder. Not so much in like the work or anything like that. I don't think I could, obviously like the tech stuff wouldn't be any easier if I was a guy. That wouldn't make a difference. And I think for the most part, it's no harder or easier for me to book guests being a woman. There are issues at times where people have a certain perception of you, And, obviously if you've listened to Pantsless Radio, it's definitely more of an adult show, and it's about wrestling and relationships. And, some of the stuff we've gotten into, Sugar and I just have fun. And we try to talk about things that are relevant and are serious, but, nobody wants to listen to somebody talk about, relationships stuff in this, super serious manner. We know that's not our listener base, it's not our fan base. So we try to have fun with things. And there's definitely been times where, I don't know if maybe we go a little bit too far, we're having a little too much fun goofing around with stuff, or just listeners maybe get the wrong idea, and they figure, a woman this involved in wrestling, she knows a lot of wrestlers, she's obviously friends with some wrestlers, and they kind of think some inappropriate things that are untrue, but it's you.
Had a lot about women in wrestling?
Pardon?
I said, do people give you that a lot as a woman in wrestling? Do you think that they feel that way about women who are in business often?
Some do. It's unfortunate, there's very definitely a double standard in wrestling. I hope one day there won't be, but right now, there's always going to be that small percentage of people, and it's definitely not just guys. It's other women look the same way too. Who are always going to see a woman at shows, or knows that a woman is involved in wrestling or trying to be involved in wrestling, and they're going to think the worst of her. There's always going to be that kind of narrow-minded group. But you kind of got to take the bad with the good. And for the most part, I've had no, or at least very, very few issues dealing with anybody who's had maybe uninformed opinions or, wrongly formed opinions. And I absolutely welcome, if somebody thinks of a certain way about me, talk to me. That's pretty much what I say, if you think that I'm a certain way because you've heard me on a radio show, then I absolutely invite you to talk to me on Twitter, on my Facebook, and, you'll see that there's definitely a person. I'm a real person. I'm not just a character on a radio show, which I guess it gets a little, the line gets a little blurry sometimes, but.
Well, so I'm thinking about getting involved in professional wrestling besides on radio. Can you give me any advice? In what manner? In what context do you want to be involved? Well, as a professional wrestler.
Oh, you actually? Oh, okay. Actually training and stuff. I think that's probably the same for it. The advice there is pretty much universal. Find a good, reputable place to train at. Find people who have gone through whatever school it is that you're looking at going to. And once you're there, just basically shut up and listen, and try to learn as much as you can. And as a woman, I'd say, there's definitely going to be people who are going to think that you will do some inappropriate things to get ahead, based strictly on the fact that you're a woman. And the only thing you can really do about that is prove them wrong. So you go, girl. You do it, and you prove them wrong.
Now, if I could, knowing that Chikara is very character-driven and very storyline-driven.
Yes.
Okay. Coming over to Pantsless for a second.
Okay.
The dividing line, of course, has to be there. Where I know you get people who come on with different promotions who are saying, "Can you, I want to come on, but I'm going to come on in gimmick, in character." Or you get those who you think that's going to be a completely character-driven interview, and they turn around and completely open up. Who has been the biggest shocker as far as someone coming on board? It's and in your gut it's going to be a character-driven interview, and they turn around and play it straight all the way across the board.
I don't think we've ever really expected anybody to be in gimmick. We kind of put that out there in the beginning. We like the idea of Pantsless Radio. It's such a terrible name, and believe me, don't think I'm not aware of it. It's a horrible name, but we named it that on purpose. because like what we wanted to do, especially once we got into doing interviews, was we want to basically strip away everything that you think you know about these people and give fans and our listeners a chance to hear them in a way that they wouldn't otherwise. You know, like, we ask stupid questions. They're ridiculous. They're occasionally offensive. But whenever I book a guest, I tell them, I guarantee you've never had an interview like this before. You know, we don't have like a checklist of, you know, who trained you, what made you want to get into business, who are your role, you know, we don't know. I mean, there's 1,000 shows out there that you can hear these guys answer those questions on.
Right.
So, yeah, so I mean, that's kind of like, we want to give people something that you're not going to hear anywhere else. So I'm not sure if we've ever really had anybody that we were kind of expecting to be one way and turned out to be much different. I mean, so we have had some very cool surprises on the show, like simply some guys who were just blown away by how incredibly nice they were. Like, probably the nicest guy, and this is probably, I don't know if it's surprising, it shouldn't be surprising to anybody, because to me, he's such a sweetheart. The nicest guy by far that we have ever dealt with is Brian Kendrick. He is just like, such a sweetheart. I love Brian to death. He is just amazing. And I mean, we've never had anybody who came on the show and, you know, turned out to be a bit of a dick or had an attitude or anything. We've probably been just really lucky in that sense. But I'd say probably the biggest surprise once we actually got somebody on the show was probably only maybe 5 months in, like 5 episodes into the show. We had Jimmy Rave. And who, for the record, is the one guest that Sugar booked, which, thank you, Sugar, because he told, like, this was amazing. And Jimmy came on, and what a lot of people, I actually just told this story not too long ago, a lot of people don't really know, just because of the timing of it all, is it was really when Jimmy started working a lot more regularly again. We were the first show where he talked about his drug problems on, and that was incredible. Like, we were just kind of expecting, you know, just, and he told a lot of hilarious stories, you know, from being in, you know, Ring of Honor, being all over, and he told these all great stories, and he kind of, when he brought up, I mean, obviously we weren't going to bring up his issues, I mean, it's none of our business, you know, and he brought it up and just completely opened up to us about it, like telling stories of how bad his drug habit was. And he talked about, you know, just working messed up and how he, you know, pulled himself together and he got himself clean and he got himself healthy, and he was coming back, and it was incredible, because, like, Sugar and I had no idea that he was planning to talk about this. And we were actually, like, the show's going on and we're texting each other going, like, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah.
You know, and that was by far the biggest surprise that we ever had on the show, was just the fact that, I mean, we're just this, like, little show, we had just barely gotten started, and he was willing to come on and just completely, like, just spilled his guts about everything. It meant so much to us that, you know, he trusted us. You know, he didn't think, you know, it was going to be, you know, put out there in any sort of gratuitous manner. And that just meant so much to us that, you know, he did it. That was, like I said, totally the biggest surprise, like, to this day. And it's amazing interview, and cheap plug, you can listen to that interview in the archive section at pantslessradio.com.
You are listening to Beyond Ringside Sunday night. Fast Eddie Layne, Wicked Nemesis, Tasha, Simone on board with Wiggy this evening. Wicked Nemesis, come on back.
Who has been the one person that that I guess you really wanted to have on, and that interview was fulfilled?
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm trying to think. Brian Kendrick was definitely one of them. He was a surprise. Like, he turned out to be, like, Sugar and I were sitting down one day, we were talking about, you know, like, who should we get on? You know, like, we try to plan ahead, just because it's a lot easier, you know, when you've got some options. And we were kind of coming up with, like, a list of people, and I was like, you know what, I want to talk to Spanky. And he just laughed. Like, it was like, we both did. Like, it was like, well, okay, well, we could try, but I mean, good luck. Right? And he was super receptive. Like, he got back to me right away. We had him on, I guess, just a little over a year ago, last April. And then in something like that, I still, to this day, I'm like, blows me away. Brian actually messaged me last summer when he was opening up his school to see if he could come back on to talk about his school. And I was like, yeah. Like, you're Brian Ketchick. You can pretty much do whatever you'd like. Sure. And then I had him back on for our Christmas episode, obviously this past December. And he was amazing. He actually participated. We did something ridiculous. Well, we're still on Pantsless Radio. We have this ongoing contest. It's ongoing now, called the Pretty Off. And we originally we decided that as a service to the wrestling community, we needed to determine who the prettiest man in wrestling is.
That'd be me.
See, you know what? We didn't get your application, or we totally would have put you in. Next time. Next time. We've got something big coming up actually for the summer, so stay in touch and we'll work on that.
Deal.
And we pitted Adam Cole versus Caleb Conley.
I got both of them.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go. Well, Caleb is our champion. He won the initial Pretty Off. He has been declared the prettiest man in wrestling. And I talked to Brian when we were recording for the Christmas episode, and I was like, listen, do you think he'd be interested? He thought it was hilarious. And he recorded a promo to challenge the winner. And it was like one of probably my favorite moments in the show ever was we announced the winner. We had Caleb and Adam on together on Valentine's Day. And I played. Nobody knew that everybody else thought that this was it. It was just a one-time stupid thing we were doing. That was it. It ended up being a surprisingly big success. We got a lot of interest out of it, and I told Caleb that he had a new challenger, and he didn't really know what to do about that. And I played this audio file, and it was Spanky challenging him, and he lost it. He was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you got Spanky to be part of this." I was like, "Yeah, well, he wanted to be a part of it, so I'm not going to say no to him." So and Caleb actually just recently defeated Brian Kendrick, so he is on quite the roll. And his current challenger is actually Paul London, who is somebody else. We're actually going to be having him on, hopefully within the next couple episodes. So he's definitely he's somebody else that I'm very excited and really that I never thought I'd be able to get. And when I talked to him, and he was like, "Yeah, I definitely love to come on the show," I was like, "Okay." Like, it's crazy. It's like there are definitely two guys who brought out my super inner fangirl. It's just like I kind of thought, oh, I'll take a shot at them and not really expecting anything, and then they say yes. It's like, oh my God. So yeah, definitely the hooligans. I mean, who wouldn't want them on the show, right?
True. Hey, Tasha, come on back in.
What's up?
Did you have another question to roll with?
I do have one more question. You're called Wiggy, so what color's your wig?
Okay, I don't wear wigs. It's a complete misnomer. Currently, the top half of my hair is black, and the underneath color rotates. It's currently blue. Before that, it was green. I'm actually in the process of taking out the blue because I'm going to be in Philadelphia at the first weekend of June, and on June 2nd, I'm going to hear yet another cheap plug. Why can't I just keep working these cheap plugs in? I'm going to be at Chikara's iPay-per-view June 2nd and from the Troc in Philadelphia. Anniversario Never Compromise, and I'm going to have a new hair color for that show because it's a big deal. And but I have actually worn wigs at Chikara shows. I don't know, how much you guys watch and stuff, but I at King of Trios last year, you could see me very on the front row, of 2 nights of King of Trios in a blue wig and a green wig at their last night pay-per-view Under the Hood in December. I was on the hard cam in a bright green wig and very visible because my phone went off constantly during the show as people were tweeting at me saying, "Oh my, is that Wiggy? That's got to be Wiggy. She's wearing a green wig. It's got to be Wiggy." And I had that on for a little over half the show until one of our contributors on Pantsless Radio, Cobalt from Chikara, obviously had a match there. He decided basically to try to decapitate me live on iPay-per-view, and he ran by me, grabbed the wig. Luckily, the wig came off and not my entire head. And that was the last time I wore a wig at a show.
Now, in addition to doing things with Chikara and, of course, the Chikaratorium, you're also affiliated with a company called Smash Wrestling, correct?
I am. It's Smash Wrestling is a new. It's about 6 months old. We're coming up on our third show, May 19th. Our debut show is October of last year. It's crazy. I've heard people already referring to it as one of like the 3 big indies in like Ontario and Quebec, which is like ridiculous. Like we are growing so fast. We have had amazing shows, amazing guests. We have Matt Cross and Greg Iron and Johnny Gargano are regulars now.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. We have had like the best local guys, and by local I mean like Ontario. The best of the best work for us. We've had 3.0 come in. Kevin Steen was on the last show. Unfortunately, he was supposed to be on our next show, and we just had to announce that unfortunately he's not going to be able to be at Stacked, which is again May 19th. He had a scheduling conflict with Ring of Honor, so obviously he had to take care of that. He's definitely going to be back though, and Smash is amazing. We run out of Toronto. And I highly encourage, like, anybody, if you're within, like, a few hours drive east or west of us, like, check out a Smash show, because I'm not biased, I probably maybe should be biased, but it is, like, the best stuff you will see, the most fun you will have at an indie, in Ontario. And I am a big fan of, like, C4, so, like, I'm definitely not saying this lightly. I love Canadian wrestling, but Smash has just been incredible. It really has been. And there's been a lot of companies who don't run out of Toronto anymore, so, I mean, we have more than stepped up and filled the void.
Real quick, C4, that's a reference to Capital City Championship Combat, right?
It is. Based out of Ottawa.
Yeah.
They are fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, actually, we've had somebody on with C4, I think it's been a couple of years ago. I'm trying to remember exactly when, but it's been a while. But now, let me see. If the event coming up on May 19th, am I getting my notes correct that is going to be at the E-Zone, right?
Yes, it's an awesome venue. There's a big sort of, I don't even know it's like an entertainment complex kind of thing. Like there's like laser tag and wiffle ball and like all kinds of cool stuff, and we run in this great space that they have available back there. And there's a bar and a restaurant in the front where we're actually going to be, I believe we're going to be, after the show's at 5, and after the show, fans can stick around in the restaurant part, and they're going to be airing a pay-per-view, WWE pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. We've done that a couple times, so it's like we're basically giving like a whole day of wrestling for an amazingly great price, and live stuff, pay-per-view, and it is so much fun. And definitely stop by the merch table and check out all of our shirts and DVDs and talk to the awesome girl who runs that.
And
she's very nice. She's very nice, very cute too. Totally.
That's going to be 120 North Queen Street in Toronto, Ontario. What's the ticket price and availability?
Tickets, I believe, this is horrible, are $15, either $15 or $20. I'm not sure. You can pick them up. All of the information is either you can get Facebook page, Smash Wrestling or at smash-wrestling.com. You can actually, I believe you can order tickets right on the site. If it's closer to the show, you can, you can order them. We'll have them waiting for you. But yeah, absolutely. It's, and what I really like is the fact that, we as soon as we found out about Steen, we announced it.
Right.
I've been to so many, indie shows where, you go and they hype up one or two people like crazy. This is the draw. This is the person that we want you to come see, and we know this is the person who's going to bring in the crowd. And then you get there, and not too long ago, I went to a show. They were hyping a very big name American guy. I was so excited to go and have the chance to see him and meet him and talk to him and stuff. And I got there, I sat through the first half of the show, and then at intermission, they announced he wasn't there.
Oh.
Yeah, that is not cool. There is no galaxy in which that is acceptable behavior. Because, stuff like that is why the term shindy goes around.
Right.
You don't do that.
Right.
You let people know ahead of time, or else, as far as I'm concerned, it's fraud, and you're just ripping them off. And that is not a good way to build or even maintain any sort of decent fan base, because you can't screw over your fans, and you can't have your fans lose trust in you. Or, what do you got? Not much for very long anyways. So
exactly.
Yeah. And we definitely said, anybody who's already purchased tickets, if you'd like a refund because of Kevin not being able to be there, let us know. You can email us, contact us through the website, and you will get a refund. Where we understand, that he's one of the people you want to see, and if you're not able to, we understand that there's some people who may not want to come. And we did bring in a replacement for him. His replacement is going to be Michael Elgin, and I'm sure most people are going to be super excited for that, anyways. But we understand, and we want to make sure that we have that good rapport with our fans. They've been supporting us, and we want to make sure that you guys know that we're not taking advantage of that. So we hope to see everybody May 19th. And, unfortunately, if there are people who feel they'd rather, not come because of Steen's absence, then you know what? We'll see in the next show, because he's coming back. He loves Smash, so he will definitely be back.
Now, out of curiosity, what have you got coming up in the near future on Pantsless Radio, the Chikaratorium, and the View from Filsinger Headquarters?
Pantsless right now is mostly the Pretty Off 3 between Paul London and Caleb. And that is underway now, and fans can go vote at pantslessradio.com on the Pretty Off page. You can go vote for who you think is prettier between those two beautiful men. We're hoping to have Paul on the show in the near future. Scheduling is kind of an issue, especially East Coast, West Coast, and stuff. I know at the end of the month we're having the former Niles Young, the current Mr. Sozio from CZW, head of the front. We're going to have ourselves a little mob party on Pantsless. Chikaratorium, we actually just released now. You can listen to that at chikaratorium.com. We just talked to Amasis, who has just come back from, being dead, mostly.
Right.
Yeah, which, was great. And as I said at the beginning of the show, but as a guest, he spent the better part of the last year dead, and he's still not the creepiest guy who's been on the show recently. So that really says something. And the next episode of The View is coming up May 15th, and we are very, very excited about that. Our guest third mic for that episode is going to be I've heard two pronunciations of his name, and I feel like I need to say them both just in case. Werner Muck. I've heard some people refer to him as Werner Muck or Werner Meek. I don't know. To me, he's just Werner. He is one of their main card artists, and he actually he's an incredible artist, just ridiculously talented, and he does a lot of wrestling shirts. As far as I know, he has designed all of the Batiri's shirts, and they have, as far as I'm concerned, the greatest merch you can buy. Like they're the masters of t-shirts, especially ones that are just awesome looking and don't look like stupid wrestling shirts. and Warner has designed all of those. So he's going to be our third mic, and our guest interview for that episode is actually going to be DDP, who we are super excited. He has a card in the Legends of Wrestling game, and he's going to be coming on, and we're going to be talking a bit about the game and obviously about DDP Yoga and everything that, the amazing things that he has done. I mean, everybody's heard the story of, the recovery of Jake Roberts, and now he's working with Scott Hall, and it's incredible. So DDP is going to be on the 15th, and we're very, very excited for that.
Wiggy, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on board with us this evening. It's been great getting to know you, and I would love to have you come back on somewhere down the road.
I would love that. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you guys asked me. This has been so much fun. It's so much fun being on a show where I know that I don't have to do all the work.
There you go.
Right? That's the best part. I'm like, yay, I get to just be the guest. I just got to show up and then leave. This is awesome.
Show prep is such a wonderful thing. I do that every once in a while. Not that often. Don't hold me to that. Now, how can everybody track you down on social networking? I know you're out there.
Oh, I am everywhere. You can follow me on Twitter at WiggyGator. My 1,000 Twitters at WiggyGator, at Pantsless Radio, at Chikaratorium. I am on Facebook. Look up. I'm on Facebook under Wiggy. I might be a little difficult to find, but totally worth it if you do. There's also, we have a Pantsless Radio page, a Chikaratorium page, a Filsinger Games Facebook page. You can add all of those. I'm pantslessradio.com, chikaratorium.com, filsingergames.com. You can listen to the show live there, as well as pick up their merch and check out their awesome games that they run. You can actually play them live on the site digitally, which is just very, very cool. You can find all of my shows on iTunes through the amazing network that is nice enough to put up with me, Copix Productions. So you can find us on iTunes, subscribe to us, review us, say nice things about us. That'd be great. It's KOPIX Productions. There's also copixproductions.com. I also run websites. I build and run websites for some wrestlers. You can check out Copix Productions and see all the sites that I run, and see if there's people that you think it's cool, or if you want to yell at me for causing you to waste a lot of time on the internet by going to these sites. That's totally cool too.
Greatly appreciated. I'm definitely going to be catching up on my personal Twitter account probably before the end of the night. Once again, it has been a pleasure having you on board. Looking forward to having you come back on down the road with us.
Thank you so much. I'd love to come back anytime you're willing to put up with me.
You got it, and be careful. We will hold you to that. Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest at this time, Wiggy, has just gone Beyond Ringside, and we'll be back on Beyond Ringside Live right after this. Welcome back in Beyond Ringside Live. 7 minutes before the top of the hour. Fast Eddie Layne behind the control panel. What's up, Wick?
No. Just no.
What's up, Ted?
Trying to make me go to rehab.
And I mean, no. What's up, Ted?
Let's go Red Wings.
Welcome back, Tasha.
Challenge.
Oh my God.
Challenge accepted.
Oh, let me go ahead and say, ladies and gentlemen, let me reintroduce properly. Multi-time National Wrestling Alliance Women's Champion, Tasha Simone.
Oh, man, she had some good advice. So
She really did. She did.
Hear this one.
Okay,
Oh, my God.
guys, I have to say this right after my introduction. A friend of Beyond Ringside, Tony Kazina, just told me that I was mean for what I just did. I don't see that I was mean. I don't see it. And I'm just going to tell y'all that when I see his little short ass, I am turning him over my knee and whipping his ass like the 8-year-old boy that he is. Hands to ass. I'm doing it.
Wiggy, it was just a rib. It's just,
It really was.
Obviously, she's in the business. Tasha has been in the business for decades. Tasha is a multiple NWA Women's World Champion, the third longest NWA Women's World Champion in the history of the NWA. We were just ribbing you. None of us wanted to let you in on the joke show afterwards. But she was very nice, and she had great advice. She really did.
She really did.
For anybody that gets an advice, that is great advice.
And it was tremendous having Wiggy on. It is greatly appreciated, her coming on board, and she is actually helping us to work on some interviews, and it is greatly appreciated. Folks up in the Toronto area, definitely check it out. Smash Wrestling coming up in the very near future. It's smash-wrestling.com. Also available on Facebook, I believe also on Twitter, and definitely check out the podcast when you get a chance to. I've actually checked out the Chikaratorium on more occasions than I've got active brain cells, and always an entertaining show. It's one of my favorites on the internet. And, of course, remembering the difference, this is live internet radio as we are going 5 minutes before the top of the 7 o'clock hour Central Daylight Time on this Sunday evening. Want to say hello to everybody over in the chat room who's been coming in and out. Everybody, by the way, Tasha, Melissa said hello to you in the chat room. She didn't put a last name. Allie Doll hanging tough this evening. Daryl B. K. Pruitt. And say what?
I said, hi, Melissa. You have to type it back.
Not a problem. Actually, remember, we're playing live through the chat right now, too. And to,
it's called technology, Tasha.
I had a blonde moment. I'm wearing my blonde wig.
There you go.
Tasha's actually like, well, damn it, I just figured out how to do smoke signals. You expect me to advance to this, what is this, 21st century?
Yeah, from that vantage point, she knows not to do smoke signals in my presence because I will inhale.
That's a lie.
Horse crap.
Oh, I'm too busy. So I've heard. Okay, it's for the next commercial break with Paul Stanley.
There you go. Yeah, I'm looking for that Paul Stanley break right now. Either that or I thought Joe Walsh was the perfect one to have. Oh, this is Joe Walsh. Don't drink and drive. I have a limo. Okay, whatever the hell that one is.
That's so weird coming from Joe Walsh because
I know it.
He tears down the walls of his hotels, but he has a conscience, so he pays for it all.
He has
accountants.
Accountants pay for it all.
He don't care. That's why he keeps ripping them down.
There you go. Oh, Lord. It has been crazy so far, and I have a feeling it's going to get crazier for the next little while. Let's see. Also, to everybody in the chat room who has not taken the time to build a screen name, it's free, it's easy, build a damn screen name. We'd love to be able to say hi to you. We made references, by the way, and for those catching on the replay, of course, known as the podcast. Of course, we are available through iTunes. Just look for Beyond Ringside. Easily done. Celebrating special occasions, as of course, we've made a couple of birthday shouts earlier this evening to co-workers Jeremy Foster and Mr. O'Hagan. From that
Whoa, workers? It's a little strong of a word to be using with Foster.
I said,
hell of a wrestler, but
I said, you missed the syntax. I said co-workers. Get it right. Plain and simple. By the way, I'm still trying to figure out, how did we rig the seance this past Wednesday night on To Be Determined to where we were actually able to get Zombie Rick Rude? I haven't done a seance in 15 years.
Because it was an official seance. We had John Williams there from Wrestling with Pop Culture. He has dabbled with Marco Polo's extended family members and Nina Monet's extended family members. They're African tribal family members. I'm not sure of their names, but we know who they are. They know who they are. And because of him, I think he was the channel that we used.
There you go.
That and BeyondRingside.com. Which I don't know if I yelled that enough last night. Did I yell that enough last night?
If that is actually who I think it is in the chat room right now, Melissa Coates, welcome to the chat. Long time no see. I'm hoping things are well. Actually, last time I worked with her was either at the Legends Mania convention or a Global Championship Wrestling show in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's been a while, and you had a chance to work with her last night, Tosh.
I did indeed, and we need to have Melissa on sometime because I dare any promoter to book us again. Trust me, this is a battle that's long from over.
Tell you what, I'll go ahead and put it out there in public right now.
God, you're such whores.
Hey. Like you're not?
Such hoes. Such hoes. He's like, hey, don't tell me that. I love how he's like, oh, Melissa Coates, I worked with her. Nobody gives a crap. Eduardo. The point is that Melissa Coates is one of those women, she would knock your teeth down your throat and just be like, oops, you were in the wrong spot.
Hey, look! I said this. I've said this in public and in private.
Her and Pandora in a three-way.
Oh hell!
Yeah, buddy.
I would actually have to put that in a reinforced building. There is nothing that would be able to hold that match.
I got one better for you, Wick. Hey, Eddie.
Yes.
I worked with her before you did.
And your point is?
Oh, my God. Wiggy, I do apologize that your interview followed this, because Pantsless Radio, hey, look, skip the last 5 minutes of after I come on.
Tell you what, if y'all want me to, I'll put the phone number out there and see if Melissa will be kind enough to call in.
Do it. Do it.
Melissa, if you're up for it, 205-316-9900, 205-316-9900. Love to have you come on board. Actually, we tried to get you on a previous occasion. If you get a chance to come on in now, it'd be perfect. Matter of fact, hold on.
Hold on. Before you do that, the To Be Determined show this Wednesday night, we will be joined by Lance Hoyt and the Washington Bullets. Thank you to Tasha Simone for setting up those interviews. That is 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, beyondringside.com. The To Be Determined show with myself, my co-host, Tasha Simone, Fast Eddie Layne, and Mad Dog Matt Denton. We do appreciate everybody's been listening to us this past Wednesday. Tommy Dreamer, hell of an interview. A lot of people, of course, were asking about it at GCW. This Friday night, Tarrant, Alabama.
Yes.
At the Tarrant High School. The Unlucky Charms will be there. We do not know who we're facing, nor do we care. We don't have to defend the titles, but of course we will. As Eddie found out last night, we defend the titles. We defend the titles 5 times within a 30-day period, so we don't have to defend it until May 26th. So thank you all. This is the Wicked Nemesis. You guys have a good night.
Tell you what, do me a favor. We're going to take that quick commercial break. We'll be back in 5 right here on Beyond Ringside Live. Hang tight. Anything can happen and everything does, and we prove that every Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, right here on Beyond Ringside Live. Fast Eddie Layne, live from the vault in the Full Range Entertainment Control Center in beautiful Birmingham, Alabama. Occasionally sunshine, occasionally wet, and I'm not even talking about the weather. Like to welcome in tag team partner, multi-time NWA Women's World Champion Tasha Simone.
Well, aren't we just having a comedic evening tonight, gentlemen? I am on a roll. What am I going to do next?
I have no earthly idea, and you know something? I'm ready for it. I'd like to welcome in tag team partner professional wrestling announcer Ted Guinness.
The Twitter war with Wiggy has begun, and oh my God, shots fired, man down. Someone call 911.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special surprise guest coming on board with her. I've had, internationally known. You have seen her on national television, international pay-per-views. You've seen her on live events. You've seen her in print. Very successful model and professional wrestling star, Melissa Coates. Welcome to Beyond Ringside.
Oh, well, it's an honor to be here. I saw Tasha was today hosting the show, and I just had to call in. We had a battle last night, didn't we, Tasha?
Yes, we did, and Melissa, it's not over yet. It is definitely not over.
Yeah, I thought you might say that, since somebody, who wasn't you, ended up on the winning end of that match, I might add.
Yeah, but, Melissa, here's the thing. This is what sets champions aside from people who aren't champions. It's not our losses that define us. It's what we do with losses that defines us.
So what are you going to do with it? Start a big vendetta against me? That's what it sounds like you're going to do.
It's already there, sister. It's already there. And let me just tell all of you, because I give Melissa Coates much respect and much credit, because she is a professional bodybuilder. She looks phenomenal. Melissa, you look phenomenal.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Wonderful pose off, and who won? I did. I beat Melissa Coates in a pose off before we ever wrestled.
Oh, you would have to bring that up. Well, the whole thing is I just don't bother with a lot of those Tennessee Yahoo fans. I didn't want them touching me, so they just don't know a good thing when they see it, Tasha.
Oh, is that what it is? It's because they were from Tennessee. Oh, okay. I got it. Well, forget the pose. I'm international. A body like mine belongs worshipped by people in California or New York, not some Yahoo Tennessee state with a bunch of losers. But, of course, that's where you're from now, right? Didn't you say that in your promo? You're from Texas originally, and now you call Nashville, Tennessee your home. So the whole thing is, Tasha, you sucked up to the fans, so they had no choice but to cheer for you. Oh, is that what it is? Is that what it is? Well, I'll tell you what. It doesn't have to be in Tennessee. It can be in Georgia. It can be in Alabama. It can be in freaking Mexico.
I vote for Alabama.
I dare promoter to put us back in the ring again. I dare them.
I vote for Alabama.
Well, I'm sure they will. I'll see if I can fit it in.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can fit it in. Tasha, I don't know. Let me check my busy schedule and see.
Now,
I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, okay, but Melissa, this time I won't be easy on you.
All right.
Now, if I could,
all right.
I'd like to ask a question. In all seriousness, taking the world full circle, because I knew of you from fitness modeling and your modeling career before I knew of you in professional wrestling. How did you first get turned on to professional wrestling on the whole? And when it came to making the move into the ring, did you have any preconceived notions about the physical demands that it would take?
Well, no, I had some idea it was going to be brutal, but when I was growing up, I watched wrestling. I really liked Hulk Hogan and the Randy Savage, feud, and I liked Miss Elizabeth. Like, of course, I'm girly. What can I say? I liked the little love triangle that was going on. It was emotional and cool. And I liked the athletic bodies. Of course, the two of them had amazing physiques, which I think also kind of stimulated me more with my bodybuilding. The whole Hogan from Venice Beach sort of thing. And Hogan was very into women's bodybuilding. He used to be very close with Corey Everson, who I used to get compared to a lot. I still do. And she was a Ms. Olympia 6 years straight, and a very, very good role model for women's bodybuilding.
Very true.
So there's a lot of tie-ins between, that sort of entertainment and bodybuilding. Bodybuilding actually ended up becoming, guy bodybuilders started cutting promos, like kind of more like wrestling type promos to be more entertaining for fans in the past several years. So when I got into it, I got it at a time when the women in bodybuilding were getting so big. I did a lot of modeling work, and at one point the women started getting so big, and it just was something that wasn't really what I wanted to do. Like, the magazine still wanted to print me, but they're like, we still want to print you, but don't try to win a show, because basically what they were saying was they didn't want me getting really, really huge, because it was, it's kind of a look that was unattainable for most women. And I guess based from a magazine's point of view, it was too freaky. Like, it was something that, say, the average person might feel embarrassed picking up a magazine with some humongous-looking woman in it. That's kind of the impression I got from the magazine business. So when I shifted into it, because I'm a competitor and I like to win things, so it was kind of a weird position to be in, to be wanting to compete and do well and being told basically not to try to win a show. It just felt really neither here nor there, and I'd always really enjoyed wrestling, so I made the shift, so I went up to Killer Kowalski's at first. It was hard for someone like me to live in Massachusetts. I was just very more California looking. There was a lot of other things I could do for money that I could do in California that wasn't possible for me to do in Massachusetts, so I felt like really out of place. But of course, I approached the business like probably not the way I should have. Instead of like talking with WWE people saying, hey, I'm top 10 in the world and I'm in all these magazines, let's talk, I'm interested. Instead, I treated it like, okay, well, I may be famous within this business, but, I know nothing about pro wrestling, like how to do it, so I'm going to start from the ground up, and that's what I did, which probably wasn't the best thing for me, because a lot of pro wrestling is based off, egos and really how you talk yourself up and market yourself, and I approached it, probably with too much modesty is what I did. And sometimes in a business like that, in the entertainment business, sometimes modesty is not the best way to approach things.
True.
So it was a much longer road for me, but, just because I didn't really understand how the business worked. So I actually made it really difficult for myself, really. I ended up at the developmental at Ohio Valley, where I worked with Mickie James and Beth Phoenix, Melina, also saw Jillian Hall. I did a bodyguard gimmick with her, because at the time, I'm 5'5", and I'm very muscular, but a lot of times in the independent scene, I would wrestle men because I was so muscular, but height-wise, it's not like I was Chyna, you know what I mean, who was like 5'9" and muscular, so she could wrestle guys, you know, which is a little more believable with WWE people if you're that kind of size. I just wasn't that tall. So at OVW, they would have me do more of a bodyguard sort of thing, like kind of like, you know, Diesel with Shawn Michaels, like something more like that, because on one hand, I think they thought it was sort of unbelievable for me to wrestle girls because I was so much bigger and I was a bodybuilding champion. But at the same time, I was smaller than a lot of the guys there. On the independent scene, of course, a lot of the time, you know, sometimes I'm bigger, you know, especially a few years ago, sometimes I'm bigger than some of the guys. So at NWA Anarchy, I worked out there for a couple years. They had me doing this gimmick there where I'd be, you know, beating up guys. I was a heel, like I was a bad girl, but, you know, the fans have a lot of respect for, you know, they have a lot of respect, you know, some fans do anyways, have respect for women who work really hard, and they obviously are not just trying to get by on their looks. You know, I was a heel, but I sort of was a baby face. So that's how that happened. When I was at Ohio Valley, that's when I ended up doing the Master Lock Challenge and, you know, doing developmental TV. And then I was at Deep South for a while as well, working with Gallows or Festus or Doc, you know, / Doc, and all the different gimmicks he worked under. I worked with him. He was the freaking Deke, and I was the bag lady. I had this bag lady gimmick, which was very different. It was actually very popular. The fans really liked it, and I think it was for the fact that it was, you know, it was different. It was something different for a woman to be doing. And, you know, while there's a lot of fans for, you know, just the pretty girl sort of thing, there's also fans who want to see women's wrestling. They want to see women wrestle, or they want to see women presented, like, with personalities or a character or a gimmick, and, you know, they want to be entertained. A lot of WWE stuff, which, you know, isn't necessarily bad. It's just that it seems like they're more narrow-minded. There's just less sort of roles for women to do on television. It's all pretty much, you know, pretty girl, diva girls, and their storylines are usually just the crazy psychotic stalker. Like, you know, we had Mickie James stalking Trish, you know, and that kind of storyline gets redone every few years with a different person. Or, you know, right now, of course, AJ was huge for just being whacked out and nutty and crazy. You know what I mean? So there's just certain rules, but everyone's, you know, cute or pretty or modelish. That's what they want with women. So at the time when, you know, WWE checked out the freaking Deacon bag lady gimmick, which, like, entertained fans. Like, the fans loved it. Like, the fans at Deep South really, really loved that gimmick, and people still bring it up today. Like, they still liked it. I don't do it anymore, but people still, like, recall that gimmick. They really liked it. But WWE, like, they ended up thinking it was too 1980s, and John Laurinaitis was like, you know, we really just use pretty models, and that's, you know, there wasn't really, I mean, there was interest there, but they weren't really prepared to put it out there, you know, on that kind of scale. And I think it would have made, you know, John Laurinaitis like, how is this going to make money? And I think it would have made a lot of money because, like, fans at Deep South even had T-shirts done. You know, I really went the extra mile with the gimmick. I would actually, like, people would, like, donate me money. Like, outside, like, in the lineup before the shows, like, people would, like, give me stuff, like, you know, and it was so funny. One time we did an appearance at a Subway, and some guy gave me $5. Was trying to find out if the freaking Deacon, like, Drew was really my husband or my boyfriend. Of course, like, if you ever saw my bag lady outfit, it was just ridiculous. I had, like, one foot I had, like, a stocking hanging down, and the other, like, leg had a sports sock on. I had one grandma shoe, like a black kind of flat shoe with these ridiculous big jewels on it on one foot, a moccasin on the other. I was wearing, like, a muumuu with a big red nightie underneath, and then, like, this big jacket over top. Like, Drew and his girlfriend at the time, who is now, like, the mother of his child, we went to some secondhand store and picked out this outfit, and then I had this golden woolen winter hat that I safety pinned on a pom-pom off the end of a Santa hat. So it's just ridiculous. And then my makeup was all smeared and messed up, and, I'd have lipstick smeared across my face. Of course, because the storyline was that I was a former fitness model, which I am, who, hit hard times and then ended up being a bag lady. So, I have my shopping cart, and in there I would carry some of the magazines I'd been in and some of my bodybuilding trophies, so I could think back in the good old days when I was, like, famous and loved by everybody, and then my manager embezzled all my money, and, then I became homeless. So that was the storyline with that. That was the background, because when you do characters for WWE, they want, to zone into it properly, there's always a background story in order to live. If you have a gimmick, which is, if you're doing something which is not yourself, like typically they say the best gimmicks are just using your own personality and timesing it by 10 or 100 or 1,000 or whatever, like Stone Cold Steve Austin. His best gimmick, of course, was when he was being himself. He did his other gimmicks before that, but none of them were as successful as him being himself. So, I mean, the bag lady thing was a little harder to zone into, honestly, but I did a background story with it being based off parts of my own life that, that it was a storyline that I could feel it and make it translate into film, into television. So it was really successful, and even other people at Deep South, they loved it. They were like, this is money, they just thought it was great. And then some of the divas there, like Chrissy Vane, for example, she, of course, like Chrissy's beautiful, and she worked very shortly on SmackDown. I remember Chrissy Eubanks, Kristen Eubanks, and Ryan O'Reilly, they worked for a few weeks, and then they ended up quitting the business, and then Ryan got back into it. He's down at FCW now. Chrissy actually, ended up filming this ugly duckling gimmick for 1 week because everyone thought the bag lady thing was, like, they just thought it was going to make so much money. Like, they thought it was fantastic because it was so entertaining. She did, like, this ugly duckling gimmick where she, like, had her braces on, like the big brace bar across her face and glasses on, and, she cut this promo from the ugly duckling where I think she was just not, she was slurring her speech because of her braces, and, she gave it a shot, and then the WWE responded back to her saying, okay, you're a really pretty girl, you need to, like, drop that gimmick. They kiboshed it, like, right away. So, anyway, yeah, they looked into it, and then the final verdict, I guess, coming from Vince was that it was 2 1980s. So then Drew/Doc, he ended up, changing his gimmick from the freaking Deacon. He ended up having to change that, several times over until I think finally what he settled with when he was on TV with WWE was Festus.
Right.
So, but people still talk about the bag lady gimmick. It seemed like it really entertained people out here. So I just like to have fun. I like to have fun with it. We cut some really awesome vignettes that were really entertaining. It was just, it was just really, it was fun. It was, like, definitely different. And I think there was potential to work it into a regular diva storyline. I actually wrote a story, and sent it up to the office where, you could introduce the bag lady. If I wasn't working with Drew, you could introduce her into the storyline by the background story be, because me and Tori Wilson was in television at the time. Both me and Tori have done fitness modeling. We've both done a lot of work for Muscle Make International. So I wrote this background storyline where, I'm rummaging. Bag lady, say I was on WWE, like, for example, this is how I wrote it. There's some bag lady rummaging through trash and, looking for food or whatever, collectibles, and then she finds some magazine, like the Playboy magazine, and there's Tori Wilson on the cover. So I'm like, oh my God, that's that woman who embezzled all my money. She slept with my manager and got him to rip me off and give me all of my money, and, so then I go on some crazy vendetta where I'm fixated on Tori Wilson. So then you just have week to week, weird things happening to Tori, like, some shopping cart flings out of the darkness and smacks into her, knocks her over, or, then other times, say, like, you actually see me running through the shadows, ramming into her with, just stuff like that, or me in the locker room stealing some of her clothes or putting her clothes in someone else's bag. So then it starts big fights between the divas, and they're, like, all accusing each other of stealing each other's clothing and, stealing food, or just entertaining, like, funny stuff like that really would bring a entertainment, like just sort of a different entertainment value, like just something different than what the usual sort of diva thing is. It, like, somewhat similar to the boogeyman gimmick that Marty used to do, that he still does actually. Just something that's very, very different, but it still makes money and fans are still really impressed with it. Because I just know, like, the fans in Georgia really liked the Bag Lady story. And then the way I worked, changing me, because John Laurinaitis was like, oh, we really just hire pretty models. I don't see how this can make money. Well, I started off with the Bag Lady, and then say, Crystal, I think Crystal was having a feud with Tori at the time, say have Crystal looking to, she can't beat Tori, so she finds me, here's my story, gives me a bunch of money, gives me new clothes, new looks, stuff like that, and gives me money to, beat up and harass Tori. And we actually did that down at Deep South, where Chrissy Vane financed me, cleaned me up, and it was like the most ridiculous Bag Lady vignette. We did this vignette where I was in the shower and she was cleaning up my clothes. I gave her like plastic gloves, so she was like picking my dirty clothes off the floor and sticking them in trash bags, and then you'd see me in the shower sticking my head out the shower like I'm pissed off that I have to actually take a shower. I'm like, what's next? Like, I'm just like so mad that she's making me get off the street and clean up. And then at the end of the makeover, of course, I'm in a glamorous dress with my hair all done and makeup done, and Chrissy's like brushing my hair out, and we're like, oh, look, you're beautiful. I'm like shocked looking at myself, how gorgeous I am again. And then they had Chrissy was feuding with Lauren Williams, with Angelina Love. I can't remember. I think she was Angel Williams at WWE. So they actually did that on Deep South. They had a transition into that same sort of storyline. I just proposed, when I was writing it to WWE, that there would be some real history that you could find, like with me and Tori Wilson modeling for the same magazine. So again, it was, it was somewhat factually based stuff from my real life that could have been translated into television, but they have their certain ideas that they want from women wrestlers, and it wasn't a character like that. But, I thought it would have done really well. I know fans really liked it. I think it would have made money. Like, there's fans at Deep South who made up T-shirts saying, don't touch my cans, like a little joke, don't touch my cans. Because I had, like, a garbage cart. My shopping cart was full of, like, of course, recyclables, because that's how I made money. So I had like a whole bunch of soda cans in my shopping cart. So this one fan had this T-shirt that was like, don't touch my cans, like, don't touch my boobs, because it was just, it was funny. It was silly. But then I was known like as a sexy Bag Lady because I had this red negligee on underneath my muumuu and my coat. And, I had this little birthmark. I put a little Cindy Crawford birthmark of mascara at the side of my face, and it was, and I still was wearing a lot of makeup, and because of course, I was a fitness model. My life went bad, and I ended up being a Bag Lady, but I still had some vanity. So it was just a lot of fun. It's too bad, that nobody was willing to push it the extra mile, because I know Drew really enjoyed he really loved doing the Freakin' Deacon. How the Bag Lady started one day was, I guess with Georgia, my hair would go like crazy. My hair's straight now, but we'd be in the ring working out, and I had really, curly hair. So this is kind of insulting, I guess. But I think one day I was just in the ring, and I knew Danny Gimondo for like the longest time, Danny Inferno from OVW. I've known him for years, and he was friends with Drew, and I guess I must have looked really messed up because we just trained, and the training was brutal. Like, we all know Bill DeMott is like one of the toughest trainers out there, and Bill was training us at the time, and so I probably was just like a ridiculous looking mess. Like, probably my hair was all like poofed up or whatever, from taking headlocks, so I probably looked ridiculous. So I think Danny Gimondo, like, I don't know, I wasn't there to hear this, but this is what they told me after. They just said that Gimondo was talking with Drew about, how he can get onto TV, and Gimondo's like, what if this Freakin' Deacon had a girlfriend? And then he looks up at me, and she was a Bag Lady. And that's how that came from. They actually had a different role they wanted me to do. They wanted me to do this kind of dominatrix sort of double character. Originally, Jody Hamilton wanted me to do something more like that, like kind of like a Catwoman sort of thing, where I get bashed in the head, and suddenly, you know, the story with Catwoman is she got bashed in the head or fell out of a building or something, right? And then she ended up becoming Catwoman after, some sort of thing where she gets smacked in the head.
Right.
So the idea was that, you know, I'd be in the ring, I get hit with something, and then suddenly I would just turn into this crazy dominatrix, like my personality would just completely split. So it was like a split personality sort of thing. And, you know, of course, I worked that into Los Angeles background, of course, because, you know, California, a lot of California, I guess it gravitates towards a lot of different personalities, and maybe some kind of really out there people are walking around California. So, it was a gimmick that could have worked with that, kind of an LA girl, and then she's a dominatrix on the side, you know, and goes like just crazy dominatrix in the ring with a split personality. Because, you know, so many people in California seem to have mental problems, or they seem to talk very freely. They probably don't have more mental problems than other people in the rest of the country, but and I don't know if they talk so much about taking Xanax and taking pills for this and that, but a few years ago, like 5-6 years ago, like I just remember people openly, like people like, you know, TV hosts would talk about taking Xanax or taking their antidepressants. Like it's just something that's far more talked about freely in California, about taking, you know, taking pills for your mental stability. It seems like it's more popular out there than it would be, say, on the East Coast. So, you know, that was supposed to be what I was supposed to be doing, which would have been very diva-ish. But then, you know, Jody Hamilton heard the Bag Lady idea, and he loved that. So that's where the Bag Lady came from. Probably would have been better for me if I'd been doing the other gimmick. It probably would have made more sense, you know, getting a TV job if I'd done the other gimmick. But, you know, that's what they ended up wanting me to do there. So I went ahead and did it, and I had fun with it. You know, it just didn't go as far as I would have liked it to have.
Something about the idea of you wearing a completely leather outfit, I think, would make a great photograph. We'll have to talk about that later. You are listening to Beyond.
Well, I do a lot. Those are actually my really popular outfits. I do like people use a lot of these photos of me wearing black leather and latex. So, but I mean, again, that's always a story. That's always a figure that I don't know if it's necessarily played lately, but you know, a few years back, you always had some sort of dominatrix type character out there. Like Sable. Sable was always doing that, and someone else did after that, too. It's just a recurring character for WWE, was a dominatrix.
Folks, you're listening to Beyond Ringside Live, Sunday night, 23 minutes before the top of the hour. Fast Eddie Layne, Tasha Simone, Ted Guinness, on live with professional wrestling star, professional bodybuilder, and professional model, Melissa Coates. Ted Guinness, come on board.
You know, Melissa, you and I have some history back at Deep South Wrestling, so we've both the good and the bad that came out of Deep South. And the one thing that I'd like to ask, because I'm still friends with a lot of the guys there, Micah Taylor, Mike Knox, Deacon, and I want to get your perspective on it, because this was right around the time, right after ECW shut down, when, you know, Deep South really was starting to take off, and we were really hitting our stride. Did you get the same impression that I did, that arena every single night, and that fit about 300, 350 people, that every single night that everyone went out there and performed, it was as loud or possibly as louder and more rabid than the ECW arena could have ever been?
Compared to ECW, ECW fans are like insane. Our fans were insane too. I don't know if it was as much. It may have been close to. I mean, I don't think any fans are as passionate as ECW fans.
One thing
That's what you said, right? ECW fans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not talking about crazy or insane or, you know, with the mad chants, but just the amount of energy that was generated through that building.
Are you looking for the word
passionate?
passionate?
Yeah, the crowd being hot, you mean?
Yeah, because, I mean, for the people that don't know, the Deep South Arena was essentially a corner building in a strip mall somewhere that was maybe 2,500 square feet. So the people that were jam-packed in there, it definitely had the, you know, everybody on top of each other, almost bingo hall quality, but, you know, the knowledge, the passion, and just the overall craziness of those fans each and every night. It reminded me a lot of what we had seen on TNN when ECW was going national.
I guess it might have been. You know, that was quite a while ago, and a lot of times I was focusing more on you of course, entertaining the fans, but a lot of times I was focusing on my work as well. So maybe I noticed that a little less than, because I was focused on my work. But yeah, they were really dedicated fans. They really were. I'm still in Medina. People I know from Deep South days, they're like, "Oh my God, you're still in Medina, Georgia?" And I'm like, "Yep." But I every once in a while I'll bump into someone like at Kroger, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I used to go to Deep South all the time. You did that character. I loved it." I still bump into people, and they're sad that it had to go. Like they're because it was great entertainment. You had so many WWE superstars there before they became superstars. It was very popular.
As life pertains to professional wrestling, we've always, and one thing that we have discussed and acknowledged on this show is the unique standard that is held for women in the industry in the sport of professional wrestling as opposed to men who are in professional wrestling. The question I would like to ask, and there is a phrase that has been used for years about the sport of pro wrestling, and it's called the good old boy network. And making your foray and making your way to different promotions, when you are able to show people that you can go, and you're definitely more than just another pretty face. Beautiful, yes. But more than just another pretty face in this business. Do you find that they are often taken aback by the fact that you can go?
I think they like it. I mean, I get most of my bookings off that. Like, people appreciate my look and my photos, and the fact that I've done modeling and I'm muscular and well built. I mean, it's been a plus for me that way. But I think people expect that from me because of me being muscular. It's probably different for, say, some other girls that maybe aren't as muscular as I am, but a lot of people also know my background. Like, they know I've been a champion bodybuilder. I did the Olympia twice. I was like 9th in the world. So I think with me, if they know my background, they're not so taken aback. But like I said, it's probably different for other girls that, say, maybe, don't have my background where they accomplished something before. Like, I'm sure girls who've done MMA and then get into pro wrestling. I know some girls do both. That probably, if a guy doesn't know that's their background, yeah, they're probably shocked. But it is a business run by men. It's just fully run by guys. Like, somehow I managed to choose two career choices that are largely run by men, it's for better or for worse, so they have certain things that they're looking for. Some guys don't necessarily think women should be wrestling. Some guys just think it's a waste of time. They don't like it. And women's wrestling always presents in different ways. Like, I find most, some people hire me because they think I'm pretty and they don't really care if I can wrestle or not. But for example, last time me and Tasha did Slam Fest, and it was just a humongous show. There was like 800 fans there, I believe, probably. Well, I'm sure there was more. And then Tommy Dreamer's there, Rikishi, Jake the Snake, DDP. It was Brian Christopher. It was so awesome to be booked on a show like that. And Hammerjack is the guy who, booked me for it. And, he booked me and Tasha, like, especially because he knows we can wrestle. Like, he wanted girls who could wrestle. So, I mean, that was flattering. So, I mean, I'm lucky because I can cover both ends. Although, sometimes in the past few years, like, when you see girls who can't really wrestle, who are just, pretty girls, and they're getting all the accolades, for one reason or another. I mean, that can become a little frustrating because, I mean, I busted my ass, like, I used to wrestle guys a lot at NWA Anarchy, and I mean, I paid my dues through a lot of stuff. I mean, I would do like just heavy, really physical moves, like heavy physical work, and then, I sometimes, of course, you end up injured doing that kind of thing, like, it wasn't an easy ride, and for sure for Tasha, I mean, it hasn't been an easy ride at all. Like, I was playing around a little bit, like, earlier with cutting some promos and that to stir a little interest for for another match between the two of us. But you know, I mean, Tasha's background, including with her MMA stuff, I mean, she's like tough as nails. Like there's, you know what I mean? Like I you know, talked about her a lot, like on my Facebook, because I was actually supposed to wrestle someone else who couldn't make it. So, you know, Tasha got booked the day before, and, you know, I was excited for it because I don't often get to wrestle someone with a background like hers who's as good as she is. So, you know, the last little while I haven't been wrestling anyone with that kind of thing going on, so I really had to step it up. I probably didn't step it up quite as much as I would have liked to have, but you know, I definitely want to work with her again because it's a learning experience from Tasha, someone with that kind of background and the championships. You know, I've never had a chance to ever hold the NWA Women's Championship. Like I was actually supposed to be booked like 3 years ago to wrestle in a feud with Tasha, and somehow that ended up, I don't know, after much discussion with Mike Searcy, somehow that ended up going nowhere. So I was pretty disappointed with that. So I was that much more excited when I was finally getting a chance to work with her. Because it's you get to pull on some of your former knowledge. Like, you know, we spent at OVW. I mean, we would, you know, they worked us hard. Like we would have days of like one time when I first got there, actually coming in from California, we had one within I think the first 2 months of being out there, we trained or did shows 21 days straight, like with no days off or at all, and it was just. You know, it's just the training was great. I enjoyed Ohio Valley a little better than Deep South, but maybe partly because Deep South was, you know, it wasn't around as long, I guess. Ohio Valley at the time was the only developmental, and I learned very well from Rip Rogers. But Rip Rogers also, you know, he did a lot of bodybuilding, so he had kind of. I think he was a little more nurturing with me because he liked bodybuilding too. So, you know, some people don't want bodybuilders in wrestling. Like some girls would be like, "What are you doing here? Like, why don't you stick with your own business? Like, why would you come into our business when you're so successful in something else?" And, you know, just really sort of unpleasant like that, like basically telling me to get lost, or like, "Oh, she's a bodybuilder. She thinks she's going to be a star wrestler now." Like basically just being asked, you know, not asked, sorry, I shouldn't say that on the air, but basically being buttholes about things. And, you know, it's like I said, I didn't approach it like that. You know, I didn't go to the WWE at the time when I was on all the magazines saying, "Hey, I'm Melissa Coates. I'm this famous bodybuilder, fitness model. Look at the covers I'm on. Like, let's talk." You know, I didn't do that at all. I started from the ground up. And, you know, sometimes I was taken advantage of because of that. Because a lot of wrestling is egos. A lot of people aren't necessarily in it to work together to produce, you know, the show. Because it's, you know, of course it's sports entertainment. You know, so it's, I was far too humble with it, you know, because it's just different. It's sports entertainment. You know, it's right. Not MMA, where for sure I'd have to start from the bottom up. It's entertainment. It's taking people with attributes and you know, showcasing their strengths and maybe trying to downplay their weaknesses and creating entertaining, you know, storylines for the fans.
Melissa, first off, I want to thank you for taking the time to call in tonight. It has been a great pleasure to have you on board. We're coming up on the hard break and getting ready to go to the top of the hour. Would you be willing to come back on with us sometime? Because I've got about 100 more questions I would love to ask.
Yeah, I'd love to. Okay, yeah, definitely. I would love to. That would be great. And hopefully, you know, me and Tasha will have another match to talk about.
Speaking of, Tasha, Simone, come on back in.
All right, awesome.
All of y'all know that I don't do this very often, but I'm going to say something about Melissa, and I've already tweeted it, that a lot of younger girls in the business could learn from. Melissa has something that is a very rare attribute in the locker room right now. She came to me with respect before we ever got to Cookeville, Tennessee.
The whole thing is you deserve so much respect. Like that's, I don't understand how people could not, with your background and how hard you've worked and some of the stuff you told, like they all know the stories about you taking crazy bumps 7 months pregnant and stuff. Like they all know that, right, about you? Like that's what woman is as tough as that? You know what I mean? Like, you deserve so much credit for that, you know, and you know, I work.
The thing is, respect is gone, not just with women, but with men too, and I give you a lot of props for that. When we get in the ring, it's business, but I'm not one of those people who I'm going to sit here and say, I hate Melissa Coates. This young lady has a lot of respect. I am also going to go openly and say a lot of people have taken advantage of her. I'm saying that openly. And they have actually curtailed her potential some. And when people start seeing matches with me and Melissa Coates, I promise you, I'm going to make a monster out of her. I guarantee it. Write it down. I just said it right here on Beyond Ringside. I'm making a monster out of Melissa Coates.
I will say this: from the times that
thank you.
From the look, and this is from me to you. This is a straight shoot. From the times that you and I have interacted, the show that we worked and the convention that we were at together, you have always been a very humble person. You've always been a very respectful, very kind, very polite, and very personable. And in this industry, male female, a lot of the times that is hard to come by. And that is one of the reasons why when you and I were talking a while back, I really originally wanted to have you on the show, because it's hard to find somebody who has that grassroots mentality that you have, and I appreciate that, and I respect that from you.
Oh.
And to hear the words coming out from Tasha right now, folks, y'all better be ready, because it's going to be a great ride. Anytime you get a chance to catch Melissa Coates, Tasha Simone on the bill anywhere, buy your ticket, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the ride. Melissa, real quick, how can people find you on the social networks?
Oh, my Twitter is Melissa L. Coates. Somebody else had Melissa Coates, so you got to put my middle initial in there, Melissa L. Coates, and then my website's melissacoates.com. And I have 2 Facebook pages. They're pretty full right now, but I'm shifting people off that don't necessarily message me all that often. So, yeah, so I talk to everyone myself. You know, I don't have a manager handling that kind of stuff. I like to be personable with people, so if you message me on there, like, you will get me. And I answer all my tweets as well. So, anyway, well, thank you so much for having me. I had a great time working Tasha yesterday. I was, like, very honored to work her. And, yeah, we are definitely going to have a lot of great matches coming up, like power against power, and you know, I'm going to be stepping my game up to keep up with her, that's for sure.
Make it a night when I'm off. I will buy a ticket. Plain and simple.
Great. Well, I'd love to see you again. Definitely. We'll have to catch up in person instead of across a telephone line, internet, web line. Be
careful. I will hold you to that. Ladies and gentlemen, our very special.
I'm moving to California. See you later.
It's okay. I just got there 5 minutes ago, so I'll see you when you get here. Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest, professional wrestling star, bodybuilder, model, and actress, which we will cover in the next interview, Melissa Coates, has just.
All right, thank you so much.
Has just gone Beyond Ringside, and we'll be back on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network right after this. One of these days. Welcome back in. We're going sudden death. Let's take it home. Actually, I call it the home run round. Wicked calls his the take it home round. This is the home run round. Welcome back into Beyond Ringside. Fast Eddie Layne, Tasha Simone. Tasha, welcome back.
Yes, I'm sorry. I've been laughing all night. Yes, I am the straight man and the comedian all rolled into one.
And you do it damn nicely, I might add. We've had some verbal sparring sessions that have been absolutely priceless. A lot of them will never make air. Ha. Although I've been told that some of them should, however. First off, Wiggy, thank you very much for coming on with us during our 6 o'clock hour here in the Central Time Zone. Great to get to know you a little bit better, and a tremendous surprise. She just happened to pop into the chat room. I wanted to find out for real if it was her, and lo and behold, it was the one, the only Melissa Coates. This is an interview that's actually been a long time in the making, because we've been in touch for a while, and then we kind of lost communication. But there were times when we had the open slot, but she was doing something. She had the opening, and we were already booked for 2-3 weeks in advance. And just on the spur of the moment, things happen, and I'm really appreciative. So things work out in great ways. And I first off will give a tip of the hat to one of our newest tag team partners, of course, longtime friend here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, Tasha Simone. Because of the match y'all had last night, she came over to the chat room, and that helped set everything up. So indirectly, thank you.
Oh, not a problem.
And want to give a very special tip of the hat to, of course, family member Mark Mabo Bowman for helping to for setting up the interview with Wiggy. Mabo's been doing a lot of tremendous work setting up stuff behind the scenes. He stepped away from the on-air stuff, and I know his reasons for doing it, but he's been staying back and helping us up on the booking side. It's definitely appreciated. And to everybody who's been listening live tonight, we've had a lot of people going in and out of the chat rooms. I've not been keeping an eye on the Ustream chat, which we are still doing Ustream for those who are listening through Ustream Mobile, just part of the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. It's been a wonder. I've enjoyed today, and I'm wondering if somebody by now has told Wiggy about the fact of who you are.
Probably not.
Probably, I wouldn't doubt it. Somebody's done it somewhere around. I wouldn't doubt it if it was Kazina.
No, he wouldn't.
You don't think he would, just to hang you out to dry?
No.
And I'm referring, of course, to professional wrestling star Tony Kazina. A lot of you have seen him on Ring of Honor and on a number of different shows around the country and internationally. We are in communication with Tony to come back on here on Beyond Ringside and on the network. So we'll have that set up in the very near future. Also, speaking of Smash Wrestling, which, of course, Wiggy is part of the promotions team for, and I'm hoping that I pronounced this properly, Salisa Sparks is scheduled to come on with us at 6 p.m. Central next Sunday night right here on Beyond Ringside. For those who caught the To Be Determined show this past Wednesday night here on the network, a lot of people know that we're having to scale back a little bit on BR because of the studio. We're actually getting ready to move the studio. So that's coming into play probably in the next couple of weeks, and I will keep everybody posted. And, of course, Matt Denton has been tremendous about stepping up and producing TBD and BR. And, of course, whenever the babysitter gets a chance, he takes control of his own show again. I still have not listened to last Sunday's show, and I will.
What?
I haven't had time. I haven't been here. I've been working all week. You forget I'm back on my...
I had to hear these guys fussing about talking about MMA for a whole hour. Listen to the damn show.
Okay. Hey, look. Yeah, I heard the 30 minutes of it was just about John Jones' toe.
The toe. The toe.
There you go. The Hoto. No relation to a camel toe. Meanwhile, back at the rant, I'll get shot for that. I know it. But it's been wild, and I've really enjoyed it. Now I'm looking at a number of different things going on. Of course, LXW, League of Extraordinary Wrestlers, makes their debut next Saturday night, May 11th in Sylacauga, Alabama. I will be working with them down there. Special hello to Kevin Brannon and everybody with LXW. And I know that Wicked is going to be back with Global Championship Wrestling this coming Friday night in Tarrant, Alabama, at Tarrant High School. Ted is just now getting settled into the wonderful world known as Idaho, so I know he's going to be scouting around, seeing what's going on in that area in the very near future. So don't be surprised if we hear of Ted taking... Of course, Guinness is very much available for bookings as an announcer, whether it be just ring announcing or television. The man is ultra talented, so definitely if you're running a promotion out west, definitely shoot him a message. You will definitely be impressed and very happy that you did. Tasha, upcoming events that you've got going on.
My biggest upcoming event for the month of May is actually May 17th and 18th. Bubba Perry, who just won Samaritan of the Year here in Nashville, hosts what's called Big Bubba's Bash softball tournament. It is a celebrity softball tournament every year in May at Drakes Creek Park in Hendersonville, Tennessee. This man is going to put a softball bat in my hand, knowing that I don't hit balls, I just hit people. So I want to make sure that everybody that's in the Nash Vegas area that can get out to Hendersonville comes out. every single penny will be going to Make-A-Wish. And then for the first time this year, he will also be hosting Big Bubba's 5K Dash the following morning, and I will also be running in the 5K. Last night was my first night back in the ring, in case anybody missed it. When I said it last Wednesday, I am officially taking bookings again. Mad Dog, if you're listening, and I know that you are somewhere, I am throwing my hat back in the ring because I know there's a ladies' title running around GCW.
Yes, there is.
And I'm a belt collector.
And actually, I'm looking over in the chat room right now. Somebody to which you and Melissa both made a reference earlier this evening. Hammerjack's hanging out in the chat room tonight. Hammerjack, good to have you on board. Thank you for joining us in chat tonight.
Tell him he's gay. Oh, that's right. He can hear me.
Yes, he can.
Hammerjack's gay.
We'll be looking over the chat room in a second. I'm probably sure we'll see an expletive or three. I'm just kidding, Hammerjack. But folks, tell you what, we're going to go ahead and take it on to the ranch for the evening. I'll be honest with you, I've got catfish being fried over in the kitchen here at the studios, and I'm about to go kill some Major League food because I know we got some fresh veggies being steamed over there too. Want to remind everybody, the To Be Determined show returns this coming Wednesday night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. All other time zones are pretty much on their own. Do the math, you can figure it out. I promise, I guarantee it. And yes, I'm being an ass. Join the Wicked Nemesis, Tasha Simone, Mad Dog Matt Denton, Corey Smart, Raging the Champion, and if situations work out, I will be joining them as producer this coming Wednesday night. I'll keep everybody on the cast posted, but I'll definitely be pushing for the show. And Beyond Ringside, of course, full scale time slot this coming Sunday, 1 week from tonight. We're back at it, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. I just had to do the math for a second because I just completely blanked out. Also, quick note I want to lay out there for our friends in the Central Alabama area. Our good friends over at Buffalo Wild Wings in Trussville will be showing the Extreme Rules pay-per-view from World Wrestling Entertainment. So for our friends in Central Alabama, if you're looking for the place to go check out WWE pay-per-views, and this will be the last one they do before SummerSlam, unless I get otherwise notified, and I'll pass the message along as soon as I know. So once again, for all of our friends in Central Alabama, Birmingham East especially, if you're looking for the place to go check out Extreme Rules from WWE, definitely Buffalo Wild Wings in Trussville. Dino, thank you for the heads up, and if situations work out, we may just be joining you over there. Don't forget, cast members here on BR. You can, of course, find the iconic Mark Mabo Bowman at MA_BO over on Twitter. You can find the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, at Wicked Nemesis. Run it all together. You can find Ted Guinness at Ted Guinness. If you're not sure how to spell the last part of that, buy a bottle of beer. That's the line that he uses, so I figured I'd go ahead and take that in his absence.
Oh my God!
Hey Tasha, how can everybody find you on the web real quick? Let's go and do shout outs. And if there's a last call you want to lay out there, feel free.
They can find me on Facebook. Matt Denton's not here to say it. I think it's Tasha.Simone1, Facebook.com. I think that's it. If not, just search Tasha Simone. You'll see a naked back with tattoos. That's me.
Yeah.
You can find me at Tasha Evans Simone on Twitter. If you are weak of heart and don't want to hear my opinion or read my opinion, don't follow me on Twitter because I'm very opinionated, and if you don't like it, I really don't care. And you can also find me www.tashasimone.com. You'll be able to find all of my appearances and everything there, my booking information, and if you want to contact me about a booking or championship ring gear, you can contact me at TashaSimoneNWA@gmail.com.
For the record, Hammerjack did come back and say she hits balls too. What a heel. And for the record, after your other comment, he said, die. Ballbuster, I think he said ballbuster.com or something like that. To everybody coming through the chat room this evening, it was great to see everybody. I've had a chance to look over and read it a couple of times. Allie Doll, Daryl B, Kay Pruitt, Hammerjack, Melissa Coates, thank you again for coming in. To everybody who's been passing in and out of the chat room this evening, thank you so much. It is greatly appreciated. Folks, don't forget you can catch the replays on Beyond Ringside Radio right here on BeyondRingside.com. Also, you can find us on iTunes. It is just that easy. Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live is the Facebook fan page. At Beyond Ringside over on Twitter, the most underused Twitter account in history. One of these days, I'll just go and drop my other accounts and just start doing everything straight through BR. At Fast Eddie Layne, one word, run it all together, Layne over on Twitter. And of course, I'm starting to get back in the swing of modifying and updating FastEddieLayne.com as well. Let me swing over here and hit this, because it should have already been playing while I was doing the shameless plugs. Once again to Wiggy, thank you for coming on with us tonight. Melissa Coates, thank you for coming on with us tonight. Folks, it's been a great show, and we're looking forward to doing it all over again next Sunday night. Remember, Global Championship Wrestling in Tarrant is a special benefit show for Tarrant City Schools. They will be at Tarrant High School this coming Friday night. Of course, LXW, the League of Extraordinary Wrestlers. You can find it on Facebook. Check it out for our friends in South Central Alabama. Definitely check it out. For the whole cast and crew, for the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis. If I could be serious for just a second, be sure to support local and independent wrestling. Mabo does that so much better. I should have gotten a damn soundbite of him doing it. For the voice, Ted Guinness. Welcome to the conversation. For multi-time world champion, Tasha Simone.
Love, peace, and pain.
This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne, saying until next time, adios, das vidania, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, sayonara, adieu, arrivederci, farewell, abbassino, au revoir, and until we meet again, aloha means bye-bye. We'll see you next Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, as we all go beyond ringside, and this is live.